Let's now get deeper into the issues that are in the headlines, and starting with the Daily Nation. I will prove my critics wrong, is what the headline is, the front page of the Daily Nation. On Jamhuri Day, many Kenyans, including the church, have accused the president of lying. In fact, there is a very funny clip going around of someone who described that press statement by the church. And watch this space is what President William Ruto said. Amid growing public criticism and simmering discontent about his administration, President William Ruto yesterday put his detractors on notice and reaffirmed his Kenya Kwanza government's commitment to deliver its campaign promises. Stories on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stanley, did you notice the president chose a different way of delivering his speeches from just about last year, using the prompters?
All right. He's
those ones, the Obama ones, you know, the ones that usually come up at you. And that's how he is able to deliver. And I think it was a good move. You saw that also when he implemented that in the US. And I think maybe, do you usually listen to the president's speeches? Ama ukimalizia jets? You know, you said you love jets.
I mean, I definitely listen to them, and you could actually get the fact that the listing of these numbers, first of all, the listing of the critical areas that he wanted to touch on, they were definitely there in his speech. Daily Nation has also given us the photos when you get insert on pages 2, 3 there, the kind of colorful the Kenyans, as well as the president entering, as well as for the chief guest there, Gambian President Adama Barrow, in his white kind of attire. I definitely love to see it.
Back to the front page. I can see the lady down there, Ameshika Radio. It says, Miss Margaret Wangari, 76, a fruit vendor, listens to President William Ruto on radio at her roadside stall in Elbagon, Nakuru County yesterday. During the Jamhuri Day celebrations. I think it was very important for Kenyans to listen, and it's usually an important thing to really listen to these speeches, so that you then know how the country is faring, how things are going, and of course, this lady followed. Now, it's a big day.
For the lady, her facial expressions, what do you think was going through her mind?
I think she was listening. I do not want to read much into it. No, the detractors have been put on notice. So I do not want to be a critic of sorts. But of course, I wish they gave us more description.
I know.
About, I think she was listening. And this is a very nostalgic picture. Did you ever see perhaps your grandfather, or grandmother looking forward
listening to the whole sonic radio, tuning in?
Yes.
On page 6, yes, you're telling us about
Raila Odinga, yes. Big day for Raila as he faces off with rivals in debate with African Union Commission job race entering the home stretch. And then also on page 8, Martha Karua, NARC Kenya Party leader, says, Karua to Kenyans, fear is not an option. Let's take on Ruto. NARC Kenya Party leader says ODM is being dishonest by being in government while still holding key opposition positions. She spoke to the Daily Nation, and Karua explains why Kenyans must push back against Ruto regime excesses. That is on page 8 and also page 17 and the back page. Governance turn to costly loans over treasury cash delays. And you remember the last time we were having this conversation on the governors that were rated poorly, they were saying you cannot rate what you don't have. And they have had to rely on overdrafts from the central bank, or rather from banks, and to be able to see that.
So they're also blaming the control of budget for the delays in county funds. That's on the back page. So budget controller blamed for delays in county funds. Senators say reliance on manual systems hampers the processing of budget approvals.
Yes, budget approvals. Let's take them to where the smart people usually go to, and smart people read.
The Star.
The Star. Handshake. Ruto defends Odinga Kenyatta truce. Now, the president said he will continue reaching out to more Kenyans. On pages 4 and 5 is where you can get that full report with a full splash of him as the commander-in-chief inspecting the Guard of Honor, where he said political competition and rivalry should never be allowed to block national interests. And he hinted at expanded government and slams critics. I remember in his speech he said he will continue to reach out. He appreciates the way to those he's been able to reach out to, and he will continue reaching out to more Kenyans. In the same week that he traveled to Gatundu to visit, to pay a courtesy call to former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So we'll wait to see. And we've seen what they've been saying about the speculations about who could be making a comeback into government, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's look at his milestones.
So yes, the Star has, now this is on page 5, the Star has been able to list the milestones since 2022. So first off, Kenyans have secured international job opportunities amounting to 243,000. Kenyans had under the affordable housing program 200,000. The community health promoters hired 107,000. The teachers hired 56,000. Hustler Fund Bing lending hit of amounting to 60 billion. Kenya has become food secure, and government services digitized and streamlining public service delivery of up to 20,855. That is according to this paper, The Star. Other conversations on The Star. I love the fact that on pages 8 and 9, we have a plethora of photos. Yes, in case you missed any of the events that happened yesterday, grab yourself a copy of The Star on pages 8 and 9, and you can be able to see from the entertainment. The entertainment was something else, George. Oh my goodness. We were here listening with you, and just from the start, from how the MC was, MC Hype.
Hype master.
The Gudaman, as well as the DJ and all the artists there.
Yes.
Now, there are some critics who are saying that mbona walikuwa naleta, watu young there. And,
the theme for Jamhuri Day celebrations yesterday, me on that one, that's the hill I'll die on. Jobs, labor, migration, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. I can assure you the young people must have enjoyed. Did you see the the activity on X? Those who didn't relate should have known, perhaps. They should know they are young at heart, maybe.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway.
Speaking of Gen Z, George, so now Faith Odhiambo, she is the president of the Law Society of Kenya. She has been feted. They say, this is on page 10, Odhiambo celebrated as brave jurist for the role of Gen Z protests.
Yes.
Awarded for defending rights and championing accountability. That is just a nutshell of there. On the Siasa pullout is Mount Kenya for Rigiji. That's the very top scroll. They're saying, pundits argue that the Ruto-Uhuru reunion will complicate political calculations for Rigiji, while some politicians hold that the meeting should not be consulted, rather construed into signs of an impending alliance. That is on the Siasa pullout there. Also ask, fueling division or cohesion, why media finds itself at a crossroads. Yes, that is just a nutshell of what is on the front page of the Star.
Let's take him to
finally on Business Daily before we get into the cartoons.
So the very interesting thing about this is that they have a boss talk here with Nigel Clark. He is the IMF Deputy Managing Director who spoke on the fund's relationship with Kenya. So remember, the IMF was blamed for drafting the Finance Bill 2024. It washed off its hand. It said, where haikuwa sisi? And that is a lot. And he said, the purpose of the trip, because remember he was here in the last week, the purpose of the trip has been to listen to diverse perspectives and engage with a variety of stakeholders to understand nuances and to ensure that we can incorporate these learnings into our work here in Kenya. Now, a question was asked. The IMF was blamed for a lot of tax proposals made under the Finance Bill 2024 based on the advice you offer to the authorities. What is your take on this reprimanding? His response, we'll just read it to you briefly. The IMF provides directional advice that is designed to assist in achieving fiscal and external sustainability. In essence, they're saying, as guys, you provided advice. So the taxes were imposed by who? Your government.
Your government.
We are not to blame.
So whatever advice they picked, it's upon your government to you throw the stones to them now.
Who in the Bible washed off his hands? Is what they're doing. Anyway, investors are hit as T-bill rates fall in 10 weeks, and securities have been falling on CBR cards. Benchmark rate slashed since August. Investors pumping tens of billions of shillings in treasury bonds and bills are reeling after returns and government papers plunged in one of the worst rout in recent years. Interest rates on treasury bills have fallen by between 5.1% and 6.6 percentage points since the beginning of October, reacting to the Central Bank of Kenya. We will be I think our Hibak Said will be giving us more details in our subsequent bulletins. I can see our guests of State of the Nation are already here, so let's quickly go to the caricatures.
Yes, and I know this is what they're also going to be, alluding to, even as they continue. This is People Daily on Stano's Tech. Common Mwananchi anashikilia notebook imetoboka. Kenya's achievement at 61, hakuna kitu ya kuona.
Hakuna kitu ya kuona. But then, there's some people who are saying it was at 60.
There's a whole confusion on that. This is the standard.
Is this Murkomen?
Yes, this is Murkomen. So again, the whole conversation about the African championships that are set to happen next year in February, the CHAN, if you may, and he says even if it means importing the stadiums to host these tournaments, we'll do it. So he's talking about the CHAN as well as the AFCON 2027. And there you do have those two balls there.
Even if it means importing stadiums, so that's funny.
Daily Nation.
For East Africa, not Tibim or Tialala during the AUC debate. Please, I hope Kenyans.
This is my favorite.
Yes, don't go in Tibim and Tialala.
And you can see who is on the shadows there.
Is this Museveni?
Yes, this is Museveni.
Mama Samia.
Yes.
Obasanjo.
Yes.
This is
South Sudan's president, Salva Kiir.
And then the DRC, Tshisekedi.
Oh, yeah, as well as Musalia Mudavadi, I believe,
yes.
Also looking. And then President William Ruto just pinching him and just poking him on the back. Sisahau.
2 points.
Finally, on the Star.
On the Star, RIP BBI, but it seems to be Tunaifufua.
Yes.
And who is this Manyanaifufua?
Well, he's wearing a yellow tie, so you can definitely know he is someone.
Is this Moses Kuria? Good morning.
He definitely looks like, according to me.
And this looks like who? Uhuru and?
The current president.
Current president.
Current and former
president.
Yes.
Maybe that's caricatures. That's our interpretation. Anyway, I will be getting to pick from our analysts this morning on State of the Nation. Where are you watching us from? Thank you so much. As always, observe the community guidelines. If you're going to chime your feedback on YouTube, send in your questions, comments, or feedback regarding the program.